girl.
2020. Some might call this the dark ages for a lot of industries, to the point that it affected many shows, leading them to either sink or swim, with a lot of them following the former and the latter. And what sucks is that a lot of these shows were animated, so they end up taking a bigger hit than the rest, with a lot of them not even getting a second chance, or just being dumped out and never to get shown again for tax reasons. And one show that took a hit was FXX Little Demon. Yes, before Satan was a duck making goof who's scared of being a dad, he was once Danny DeVito.
That's my character. I'm the trash man.
So sit back, grab your sacrificing goat and divorce papers. It's time to talk about Little Demon. So what is Little Demon? Well, Little Demon is an adult animated show created by Darcy Follows, Seth Krisher, and Karen Valla that premiered on FX's sister channel FXX. Think of it as Disney XD for adults. And on August 25th, 2022, this is where we'll all get introduced to the interesting series where we follow Laura Finberg moving into a new town with her daughter Chrissy Finberg and looking to stay off the grid from Chrissy's father. Not because he's a deadbeat, it's because he's Satan himself, who is voiced by Danny DeVito. Yeah, for an outlandishly plot, this series is pretty cookie cutter when it comes to the story, and I'll shine a little bit more into that a little later, but I do want to talk about its star-studded voice cast. Like I said, we have Danny DeVito as Satan, who is Chrissy's long-lost father, who plays as the do whatever you want anarchy type of dad, and that's because he needs Chrissy to achieve his full power and take back hell. We're hitting that anime plot level right there. If you're wondering whether DeVito brought that Frank Reynolds energy to the show, well, yes he did. Satan in the show is basically if your drunk uncle had hellspawn powers and a LinkedIn addiction. But even though he's the devil, he shows that what is worth, he does care about his daughter and somewhat her mother. But talking about her mother, this is Laura, who is played by Aubrey, please notice me, Plaza. Laura is the single, stressed out muscle mommy who happens to be a witch and is overprotective of Chrissy. And out of the three, I would say she has more interesting character. Like, where did she meet Satan? Where did she learn magic? Is she a witch by practice, or is it a family thing? I wish they talked more about this, but we see how much wasted story we missed out on for more time for Chrissy dealing with the fact that she's the daughter of the devil.
There it is.
No, not that one. But even though throughout the whole show, Laura is shown to be a mean, cynical person, you realize she has to, from being hunted for years because of Chrissy and fighting demons, even staying out the grid from Satan. Laura's character sort of reminds me of Robin from One Piece. But let's talk about the Hellspawn herself. This is Chrissy. Chrissy is the Antichrist, who is played by Lucy DeVito, aka Danny DeVito's actual daughter. Chrissy is a girl who is living her life with her mom. And it was explained that time after time, they would be moving from town to town for seemingly nothing. But it wasn't until Chrissy got visited by her Aunt Flo. And when that happened, that unlocked her new powers. And also exposing her and Laura to Satan. Chrissy throughout the show would struggle to deal with being a kid and having these powers, often getting into a lot of shenanigans and learning new powers with her only friend Bennigan, who is played by Eugene Colorado and plays the voice of Region, which often leads him catching some mad strays in the situation he tries to calm down. But most of the time he does come off annoying. I can't put my finger on it. It might be the way his voice is, or he's just too naggy. But we do see some development with him in the middle of the season. Dealing with self-image issues, Chrissy trying to help him, only leading him to distance himself from Chrissy and everyone, and leaving a big cliffhanger at the last episode that I'll talk about a little bit later. Another mainstay I want to talk about is Laura's neighbor Darlene, the cougar with the upbeat attitude and has a funny story for everything. She's the type to make you think you're getting some signals from coming over for some homemade chocolate chip cookies and just laugh when you try and make a move, only for her to give you the whole tray so you won't feel bad about it. But for her goofy self, Darlene really tries to help Laura time to time by inviting her out and meeting new people, trying to get Laura to get her guard down, and even wanting to lend a hand with all the demon stuff. Oh yeah, in this world it seems like the humans either don't care about the demon stuff or just accept it. My type of people. But she does end up being Laura's real best friend, which is a feat on itself. Lastly, for characters, I want to talk about Erwin, Laura's weird little demon thing.
He
who shows up in the first episode seemingly as a prisoner but ends up being some type of pet, but will get disrespected by Laura. Like, we get it, he's the Klaus of the show. And what's the backstory behind Erwin? They don't tell us. Yeah, something that this show lacks a lot in. But Erwin seems to get along with Chrissy, even giving her tips on what her mom does to keep the house afloat. But it's crazy to see how much torture she does to him. No showering as a punishment is wild, but it's hinting that the form we see Erwin isn't his true self. Him planning on an escape, maybe he's like that one demon Laura had to fight, where it feeds off positivity vibes and grows stronger, but we'll never know. This show has a lot that it lacks, but where does this show shine when it comes to Chrissy being able to balance being the Antichrist and being a regular person? Well, we'll find that out after this.
I forgot about this coupon.
So in the first few episodes, we get introduced to Chrissy and Laura moving into a new town, and while Chrissy is seemingly getting a feel for a new setting, she starts to notice a change in her body, that being her monthlies. And when she's panicking in the bathroom, that's what some no-name bully tries her, leading her to unlocking her newfound powers and offing them. And from that, she becomes the beacon to Satan, while Laura tries to pick her up and to get out of town, but Chrissy, being a teen, fights against it, only for some of Satan's minions to come get her so she can actually meet her dad for the first time. And I find it funny how Satan introduces himself, thinking his kid is a boy. He comes out as some super macho stereotype, even calling Chrissy Damien, a call to the Antichrist stereotype itself. But when Satan finds out his child is a girl, he changes himself into a girl dad. But while Chrissy's with Satan, Laura goes to the primordial realm herself, and I kind of like how this show handles the realm traveling. Instead of drawing a circle and just walking through it time to time, we get this whole step-by-step that she has to do. Even if you do one step off, it has consequences. But with some parental fighting, Chrissy demands both to coexist, and they end up agreeing to have a co-parent life. And for this being the first episode, it's pretty strong, and not gonna lie. And during the series, we get a lot with Chrissy and Satan's relationship growing, with them pretty much catching up for lost time. Even having Satan teach Chrissy how to use her powers. But I think what really sets it in why he's teaching her is because during one episode, Chrissy finds out that because of her existing, Satan's powers are damn near gone, with her having majority of it. And that's why Satan is trying to teach her and try to get her on his side to take over the realm, but usually that backfires, with Chrissy abusing her powers and debating if her dad cares about her at all. But like I said earlier, with more episodes focusing on Chrissy learning how to use her powers, it takes away more time from other answers that the show likes to set up. Like, we find out how less power Satan really has, not even being the ruler of hell no more. But we do see some funny stories about Laura trying to fit in, like the episode where Chrissy makes her mom jealous because of another parent. Seems to give Chrissy more attention, so Laura wants to be a PTA mom. But that backfires because of course it does. With Laura's attitude towards it, she ends up using leeches that leech off negativity, only for Laura to be eaten in half. And a little later in the series, we see this kind of correlation with Laura and Chrissy when it comes to the people they surround themselves with. Darlene wanting to be Laura's friend and be there for her. And you have Benji, who even though he gets scared, he's still willing to help Chrissy for a lot of her stuff, which leads to a weird moment where Chrissy uses her powers to make Benji faces his body issues, only ends up backfiring on Chrissy, making Benji taking some time for himself and separating himself from Chrissy. But he does show up later on the last two episodes. Also, something we see is a change in Satan's personality. For being a dad, you see, you get the idea of Satan just being the ruler of all demons and such. While getting to be a dad, you see a small, and I mean small, character shift with Satan. Him actively trying to protect Chrissy when other demons try to get her, or when he went out with some other demons for a human spree, and after a while he spares a bunch of humans, leading the other demons to think that he lost his edge. And it's not just the demons either. So we find out that Satan doesn't rule hell anymore, and he was kicked out by the angels. And when they find out that he has less power than he did back then, they try to end him. But Chrissy makes the save and gains a little respect from her dad, which is a plus for Satan because he still wants Chrissy to be with him. And let me tell you, that that does happen in the next episode, because in this one, in the beginning of the episode, Chrissy and Laura gets into a huge fight over a left dirty dish on the sink. It leads them to a huge fight, which leads both of them to constantly hit below the belt when it comes to insults that they both don't want to say, but they do say in the heat of the moment, which causes Laura and Chrissy to have a domestic fight, using their powers to have rats and roaches to fight as if it was war itself. And this fight leads Satan to intervene and exposes Laura's old diary to Chrissy, where she tried to use a spell to go back and never get pregnant, leading Chrissy to leave and stay with her dad at the end, which Chrissy did enjoy the freedom at first until she almost got eaten by Mothman, which having her separate herself from both toxic parents. She tries to stay with Benji, but he ends up being kidnapped by a priest who was trying to kill Chrissy in episode 1, but is saved by her long lost siblings and take her to the furthest point of the realm, which no one could find her. But with Chrissy going with her siblings to a point that no one could ever find them, this leads Laura and Satan to work together. So like every divorced parents, they swallow the pride and go rescue Chrissy. So they go through a labyrinth, and while they're dealing with that, Chrissy is enjoying her time with her new siblings, teaching her that she doesn't have to end up like her mom or her dad. But while in this realm, she discovers that there's monsters that try to kill her brothers and sisters. They have one rule, and the rule is to don't kill. If some stuff happens and Chrissy loses it and kills some of the monsters and accidentally kills her brother, leading her to get banished and sent back. And I think at this point, this is where we see a big character shift when it comes to Chrissy. You see, Chrissy throughout the show will often listen to everyone's advice or just try to follow their lead. But like I said, with this character shift, this does lead Chrissy to be on her own and to think on her own, doing things that she wants to do instead of what people tell her what to do. Because at the end, she doesn't want to end up anything like them. We see how this kind of leads more of the evil side of things, and we get left with a big cliffhanger as Benji is being reminded on his mission. But wait, when did this happen? Well, while Laura and Satan went to go look for Chrissy, Benji wanted to help too. So he tried the transportation spell, but messed up and was sent to the angels, who kicked out Satan and had him work for them. What was his mission? I don't know. This plot was left off as an ending season cliffhanger, something to come back for season 2. And has season 2 came out? Unfortunately, Little Demon came out during the dark time of TV, and a lot of people are focusing more on the events of the world, that and the lack of promotion. I swear I only seen like one ad for this show and a billboard by UCLA, and the only thing I remember they promoting was Danny DeVito being the voice of Satan. But what made me want to take a look at this show? You see, there's a lot of media that becomes lost in time, and Little Demon seems to be one of them, with it being taken off Hulu back in 2023, and I wanted to test to see if this show was any good, and for the most part it was. Sure, the art style was hitting the generic 2020s Rick and Morty copy and paste style, and yes, it lacked a lot of world building and a lot of plot points left off, but it had room to grow. And I feel like if this show had another season or maybe even 2 seasons, this could have been a really good show that would tackle a lot of the whole plot point of Chrissy being the Antichrist and having somewhat of an El Tigre vibe, with Chrissy choosing either to be good or evil down the line. But unfortunately, we will never know. That's gonna be the video, everyone. I hope you all enjoy, and I know I've been gone for a while, and I know I said I'll post more during this year. I can't blame no one else but myself. You know, life hits everyone, and I'm no different, but just disappearing isn't cool. So again, I'm sorry I haven't been posting a lot, but don't worry, next video should be ready after this one, so stay tuned for that. But tell me, did you watch Little Demon when it was airing, and did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. But till the next one,
Daddy-daughter killing time. To the top can never be.
Schnoz matches the schmeckle. I'll call you the whole packet. Blame me for the economy, okay? I gotta go where the work is.
Look at me. I'm bad grandma. I have loose hips.
Don't wear it out. I was like, you're a fucking dumbass.
She's still starving. I got some. What are you, my sponsor?
How long have you been a serial killer?
Well, cat's out of the bag. We're fucking...
Take me.
peace.
Hey everybody, this is my daughter. Kiss her ass or I'll slaughter your children.
Proud of you! When we dated, were you inside someone's corpse?
You had an unfinished dolphin tattoo. Don't be a snob.
Oh.
She says I lied to protect you.
She sounds like a bitch.
That's what I said.